Hey guys, so we're going to fill out the second section of the notes now, and it's irregular preterite verbs in the past tense. So make sure you're following along on this page in Google Classroom. These are the notes that are continuing the notes that you took from Block Day. So again, preterite is just a fancy grammatical word for a finished action in the past tense. And we already talked about regular verbs. And a regular verb is one where all you have to do is take off the ending and replace it with a new one to get your new verb. But irregular verbs are a little more complicated, and there's a whole separate list of those that we're going to go over right now. So similar to last time, we have a couple of verb charts, and this first one is basically just a list of all of the verbs that are irregular. And what makes these verbs irregular is the middle of the word and the beginning of the word changes, as well as the end of the word. So the way to read this chart is on the left-hand side here, you have the verb like tener, estar, and then in the middle column, you have kind of the root of the verb. So for example, when the verb tener changes to preterite, so instead of saying to have, it would be had, it needs to start with tuv. And from there, you add on your ending. So again, with estar, which means to be, this would be for the word was, and it needs to go to estuv, estuv, and then you add on your preterite endings. So here's our list. We have tener, estar, andar, which is similar to caminar, but just not as commonly used. Poder, which is to be able to. Poner, to put something somewhere. Saber, to know or find out. Hacer, to do or make. Querer, to want or to try to do something in the past. Venir, to come. Decir, to say. Dar, to give. Traer, to bring. And then conducir, which is like manejar and just a little bit less commonly used. So once you change the beginning of the word to these roots, irregular verbs all have the same endings. It doesn't matter if it's an ER verb or an AR verb or an IR verb. So for example, like tener and estar, you can see tener is an ER verb and estar is an AR verb. But if we scroll down here, we can see that all of these endings are going to be the same for them. So in the yo form, it's all going to end with the letter E. And you'll also notice that they don't have accents like regular verbs do. So if we wanted to take the yo ending, for example, all we would need to do is find the verb that we were using. Let's do the word tener just because it's the first one. If we wanted to say I had in past tense, we would start with tener, move to our irregular root of the word, tuv, and then add on the letter E to get the word tuve. I'm just writing it right here temporarily. So that means I had. Let's see, the to form is iste. The he, she, or you formal form is just o. The nosotros ending is emos, and the they/you all ending is ieron. Okay, so those are the endings that you use for all irregular verbs. You'll notice that there are a couple of irregularities here, so I'm going to talk through those with you. Let's first talk about hacer. The root of hacer is is, and it's hic for all forms except for the he, she form. So it will look like this: hice, hiciste, hicimos, hicieron. But when it's the he, she form, it's hizo, and it's with a Z. And the reason why it's with a Z is because if we were to put the letter O next to the letter C, it makes a k sound. So this would have to read eco, which does not sound like the verb hacer at all. So anytime you're doing he or she, did or made, it's hizo with the letter Z. And then with decir, traer, and conducir, you'll notice that there's these stars. And then in our endings, you'll see that there's those same stars with the ustedes, ellos, ellas ending, and it's just eron. That means that if you want to say they said, they brought, or they drove, instead of saying dijeron, like you would think, it's actually just dijeron. And traer, instead of doing trajeron, it's trajeron, and so on. And then finally, you'll notice the verb dar, to give, is completely irregular, and it's in the parentheses here. So you have di, diste, dio, dimos, and dieron. Finally, there are two completely irregular verbs in the preterite tense that don't really follow any of these irregularities, and that's ir, to go, and ser, to be. So I already have the forms for ir written in for you, and you've heard these before. Fui is I went, fuiste is you went, fue is he or she went, fuimos is we went, and then fueron is they or you all went. So the verb ser, which means to be, is actually the exact same. So you can copy fui, fuiste, fue, fuimos, and fueron and paste it because it's the exact same. Okay, so we have 10 practice sentences. I'd like to challenge you to try to fill out these sentences before I go through and fill them out with you to see how you do with it. So if you want to pause the video and give them a try, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to start doing them now. So the first sentence is the girl found out, and the verb is saber. So I'm going to write la chica, and then I know that the verb is saber. So now what I need to do is find the root of saber and then add on my ending. So if I go back up here to my list, here's saber. It goes to soup, S-U-P, and then irregular endings for he, she is just O, the letter O. So I'm going to write la chica supo. I came to school at 9. Yo blank a la escuela a las 9. So I have venir as my verb, and it's yo form. So I'm going to go back up here to venir, and it's vin, and the ending for yo form is the letter E. So I get yo vine. They said, decir, ellos, and then I'm going to scroll up again, find my verb. It's di, and then it's got the stars next to it. So I know when I go down here, it's not dijeron, it's just dijeron. And I think that's a word that you might recognize from one of our previous stories. All right, you put the ham on the sandwich. Tú blank el jamón. Oops, jamón en el bocadillo. So I need the to form of poner. So we have pus and then iste. So the verb is then pusiste. Why did they have to leave? Porque tuvieron que salir. I'm just going to go through these now that you can see how we go through them. Again, you just need to find the verb, go to the root, and then add the ending. We brought the food. Nosotros, again, I'm going to go up to traer. It's tra, and then we is imos. So trajimos la comida. He could not go, or I could not go, sorry. Yo no pude ir. He walked home. Él anduvo a casa. You gave me a candle. Tú me diste una vela. Should probably put vela here so you can know what that means. They did their homework. Ellos hicieron su tarea. And that's it. Coming up soon, you guys will have an opportunity to practice both of these, regular and irregular verbs. Make sure you use your notes and that you check for your verbs and your endings. Let me know if you have any questions.